Let me put food down.
Or you can just turn off your webcam or something.
That's fine.
Okay.
Sorry. Are you seeing my screen? Okay.
Yep.
That's not the right. This is a different app. Okay, let's look for the app. Oh boy. So I was told that the branch that I code reviewed wasn't the branch that they were submitting, but I don't see their pull request. The only thing I see is a pull request you made.
Oh, when we did it together, right?
Yeah. So yeah, when I was showing you how to do pull requests, I don't actually see their pull requests. So
What code did you actually review?
I reviewed it from a branch here. I'll show you from a branch that's called something 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 merge, and I thought that was the name of the branch that they wanted me to review. So I reviewed it. Apparently, it's mostly all the same code with a couple additions. So I put my comments in this branch that's called map location code review. So what I ended up doing was I took their this one right here, blood donation location merge, and I created a new branch from that that's called map location code review, and that's what I where I put all my comments, and I did the comments as to dos, so they're easy to find.
Wait, so this is not merged into the master, right?
Nope. It won't be either because there are things I want changed.
It's good how we have this gatekeeping mechanism here. Like,
Yep.
you check the code and make sure it's okay.
So let's go to the to-dos. It probably wants me to sync. Can you hear the rain?
Not really.
Oh, okay. It probably sounds like my fan, but that's, not the fan. That's, man, every time I move my neck, that's the rain. Okay. So let's start, I guess, with this one. Okay. So this, let's do a local compare so that you can see what I was asking about, right? So compare with nothing to show. Hold on, compare with branch here. Let's compare with that branch. Could not find branch. Why not? Okay, compare local. Hold on. There, I did this locally, so let's do compare with branch. No, local. So if you look at what was there previously, I don't know why that looks like today at 10 a.m. Is that it? External changes, current side by side. Today at 9 a.m. to do. Hold on. Today at 9 a.m. Okay, let me move this out the way. Oh, no. Where is it? Let me go further down. All right, so here. You see where they have variable names called FM and no of tabs? I wanted that to be a little bit more expressive.
Oh, okay.
Because the word no for number, there's no point in doing. There's no reason to be as concise with the variable names any longer. When I was like way back 25 years ago, when I was working on mid-range systems and you had a maximum of 8 characters for a variable name, this type of notation absolutely made sense. This made sense. But now since we have a much larger, then it makes sense to call it what it is and just be what it is and just be expressive. So this is Fragment Manager, and that's the number of tabs. Okay, so the next one Nope. So that was that. That's the same thing. Oh, this expression here, why didn't that show? Oh, yeah. So this one, the only thing I'm pointing out here is there's no reason to create a new variable here if you're just going to return it immediately, right?
Mhm.
You see that?
Oh yeah, you can just do a return and a new in one line.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of a redundant variable because you're just returning it.
But in terms of performance, are they the
There's
same thing or?
No, there's no difference. There shouldn't be any difference. Well, there's a slight difference, but not. I wouldn't even consider this a performance increase because there should ever so slightly a difference because you're not instantiating a variable and then have it live on the in memory. But that's I guess besides the point. It's more concise, therefore more readable to have it just be very explicit that you're returning a new near current location fragment, right?
Right.
If you were actually going to do something with this, it would make sense to instantiate it and then do something with it and then return it. But if you're just returning it, just return it. In fact, your IDE will tell you that. If we put this back, excuse me, if we put this, let's put this back in the code, right? If you go to the IDE, it tells you right there, the warning, the local variable is redundant. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. So I have code styles, just the default coding styles for Java set up in IntelliJ. And what I end up doing a lot is just looking for that to be a green check mark. That means there's no problems at all, right? No redundancy, just no problems at all. No weird logic structure. I'm looking for something like that, So in some cases, I changed it and just made a note. Like use more expressive parameter names or use more expressive variable names, and here just be more concise, or no, don't use redundant variables. In some cases though, I didn't change the code at all. I just wanted them to look at what they were doing and consider, like for example, this one, I would ask them to consider using data binding instead of the find by view, right? And particularly since there's there's 4 of them, but still, I would ask that one, it's something that we learn in our course, right? So it should be fresh in everybody's mind. And and 2, I think that's like the proper way of doing it. I don't know why they showed us this way first and then showed us how to do data binding last, but
that's data binding part.
Data binding is in
last part?
No, well, it's either the last or the second to the last part of the course. It's in one of the UI.
Calm down, Shellee.
Let's see. So let's see. Oh, after I talked to you guys, I went back to the course just to make sure everything was checked. There was one video that it showed that I didn't watch, which I know I watched that video, but it didn't mark it as completed. So I was at 95% complete, which is weird. But now I'm at 100. I better be at 100 or else I'm going to be upset because I know it should. Nope, that's the advanced course, right? Yeah, that's the advanced course. Grow with Google Scholarship, this one.
Oh, you've been doing a lot of Kotlin too.
I actually like Kotlin, and it's something that I'm going to use at work too. So, why not use it with this and then, start using it at work. I actually did a POC at work for a Spring Boot application written in Kotlin.
How do you find Kotlin compared to Java?
Okay, so Kotlin to me is like Kotlin to me is like Esperanto is to English. It just makes more sense because it was constructed later and it was constructed to be easy to use, yet expressive. It just makes so much sense to me. It absolutely does.
Really?
Makes so much. Oh God, it makes so much. I'll show you some of the classes I've written. Anyway, so it's either under polish the UI or completing the UI. One of those two. And the UI elements for the Zoom is getting in the way. Let's see. So then let me get in there. Here we go. Lesson 13
now let's move on to the
number
next
12
exercise,
is about data binding. And essentially, it does you bind your entire view to a Pojo, and that way you don't ever have to do bind by view, find by view anymore. You just simply tell it to bind to this Pojo. That's it, and it'll automatically.
Why would you want to bind it to a Pojo?
You'll see what, well, you kind of have to take do the example to know what I mean. Here we go. So here's an example. No, that's not a good example because that's not the, well.
When you talk about Pojo.
Plain old Java object. So literally, let's say you have in here, let's take this for example, right? It has a places list, right? Is that a places list? It has a linear layout, a button, a linear layout, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it have all these layouts? Are those the layouts for, oh, I remember what he said. I thought they were going to change this. Maybe they're not even using this anymore. Okay, so I need to talk to them again. Error view. So I have to talk to them. I thought maybe not. Okay, maybe that's something else. But so let's take for example, what's a good example? Here, let's take for example this one, right? No, court counter. Okay, let's take for example this one right here. So in this, hopefully it has it in there. Boy, sorry, it's still doing the import thingy. It's so slow. Okay, so you have your main activity, and in this main activity you have 2 text views, 3 buttons in one linear layout, another text view, another button, and another linear layout, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to get a reference to all of those text views, and all of those buttons, I would need to do find by ID, find view by ID for all of them individually, right?
Right.
Instead of doing it that way, you can create a Pojo for that simply lists these as each one of, like, have a list of each one of these types, right? So you would have this doesn't have a name. That doesn't have an ID. Okay, so this one, team score, right? So I would create a regular Pojo that, here, you know what? Let me just go to the lesson. Do I have it? 11, which one is it? 11. So it'll be 13, 12, 13, 14, 13, 13? Lesson 13, 13, right? Or is it, yeah, no, 11. Try to remember, the lessons are not the same as the lessons on the video, so I'm trying to remember which is which. Landscape constraint. Let's go. Grow with Google. Nope. Here we go. Grow with Google. Come here, Chewy. Here we go. Completing UI. My app. Let's go to, okay. Let's go to solution. This makes more sense. Will you knock it off, dude? Leave me alone.
So basically, you would create a regular object.
Yep, plain old Java object. I mean, plain old Java object, which is a POJO.
All of the views and all of the buttons and everything, and you.
Nope, just create it. You would it would just be the parameters that you would create, or the variables you would create in your class to hold those views. Hold on, let it load, and it'll make more sense.
Oh, so basically you use the XML to initialize.
Nope. Here we go. So basically, so you have here's your view, right? Here's your, let's say this is your layout, right? That layout has a text view, another text view, another text view, another text view, all these text views, right? Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to manipulate that in your Java code, you would need to get a reference to each one of those individually, right? Using find by ID. Yeah. Instead of doing that though, you can set up, did it do it? Is this the one? This is not even the right project, because there should be another object. Hold on, it might be the next one. Here we go, data binding, here we go. Is my computer plugged in? Ah, that's why it's running slower. It's not plugged in. What did you, oh, Jesus. Sorry, not only did the dog unplug my computer, he unplugged the power source too. Like, he totally unplugged everything. Even know that came out. All right. So again, sorry, go into resources, look at this layout, right? So in this main layout, you have, again, 2 text views, 2 image views, 3 image, 4, 5. You have all of these views, right? And if you wanted to reference, oh boy, that's a ton of views, right? If you wanted to reference any of these views in the Java code, you would need to get a reference to them individually using find by ID, right? That's a ton, right? There's a ton crammed into that one screen. But it's a boarding pass app. That's what this lesson builds, is a boarding pass app. And each one, like this, that, this, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 12 different things on here will change based upon various, things. Everything basically on here will change. So you need a way to easily get a reference to all 12 of these things and manage it more appropriately. What you end up doing is creating a POJO that basically has a variable for the data type you're going to use in your Java code. So for example, those text views, you will convert those to string, right? You would like get the you would do find by ID, and then you would then you would do a get or set text on that, right? To get the actual value of that text field. So those the value for those text fields would be string. The value for your boarding pass, though, in your Java code would be a timestamp, right? Although it's probably a string, it's a text view in the UI, it's a timestamp in the Java code. That's what it really should be. So you create this POJO that has all of the data variables for the data types you're going to use in Java, and then you simply, then you simply, hold on. This is the solution, right? Okay. Then you simply use a framework class that's called data binding utility.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell it to bind, you tell it to set, instead of doing set content view like you normally do, you use the data binding utility set content view, and that will bind all of those views in this layout to this variable here, which is activity binding, activity main binding. And it only knows that it's activity main binding because your class name is activity main. It's like, it's a weird construct for just for data binding, right?
So how does that relate back to the POJO?
So the POJO is what's going to hold your values when you like do a get or set. The POJO is what you're going to set or get all of your values, or the variables in the POJO is what you're going to use in your Java code. And then when you're ready to bind or ready to set that value back to the display or to the view, you just use it instead of, is that making sense? So right here, I'm telling it to, right, okay, so let's see. So up here, I'm telling it to bind my view, all the views in this layout to this binding, right? Then I'm telling it to get fake data, right? If you have a data source, and put it into this variable. Then I'm telling it to display boarding pass info, which is this one. You're gonna pass your data source, in this case is fake data, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what the POJO does. It's just holding the information for your data source. So whatever your data source is.
But how does in binding data knows what text view passenger name is?
Oh, where it knows? Oh, that's just auto magic, really. It really is just auto. Because how does it know? Because you use the data binding utility set content view and told it to grab all of the views in this layout and bind it to this content or this data binding object, right? Right here. Let me see if I can get it to run. If we can put it in debug, you'll see what I mean. I'm just not doing really well at explaining it. Sorry, let's see. So you saw how not sure why it's not. This might be a course thing. Sorry, let's see. No. Oh, I've shown everybody how to fix this and I don't remember myself. Dependencies. So it doesn't like 25.1. So let me do 26.1. Did I change them all? Okay. Now let's resync and see if it works.
So basically what we're doing here is just basically instead of having
it worked.
references pointing to those text views, those buttons, we're just gonna have one class that contains all of those references, right?
Right. This is weird. I remember this being an issue before.
Oh, now it's okay.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, not okay. Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, I don't see any.
Okay, I see this down there, but we're just gonna write right on past it. If it's gonna let me do it, I'll do it. So let's put a breakpoint here before it actually on create, and let's just do a debug so you'll see what I mean. So you saw in the, see, it's not compiling. I knew that was gonna be a problem. So, well, if I put it back to 25, it had the same problem. This annoys me. Like, to no end, it annoys me.
Well, it looks like you fixed it.
No, it's still building. Okay, oh, so it builds successfully. That's weird. That is so weird.
How would you debug? Oh no, now it came back.
Even if I run it, it's still, it's.
How would you, how would you debug something like that?
I don't know. I don't know. I remember doing trial and error when, let's go to my version of this, the exercise. I just remember doing trial and error because it kept giving me this issue. And this was like one of my annoyances with the entire course was that, you know, the whole dependency management thing seems to be kind of flaky, you know, not kind of flaky, but really flaky. Okay, so here, let's go right here. And debug. Now, what is the difference between this one and the other one? I said it, no, it was at 25, like it was before.
Yes, try debugging it. Did you set a breakpoint?
Yeah, I have a breakpoint in there, I think, on the main, yeah. So this, it's the same as the other one. Why did it not work, right?
I don't know.
Annoying, annoying. So it should be breaking right about now. Okay, so recall that in the view it has like a ton of different stuff, right? Ton of images and text views, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to get a reference to those, generally we would do find by ID, right? To get a reference to it. Instead, actually, we were told to get rid of that, but let's write one on past it. And then see what this thing is doing. See how binding is null. I'll show you what the value of binding is after it does this set content data binding. All right, so now if you look at the value of binding, you'll see it has a reference to all of the views in
like as a parameter?
Layout.
As a parameter?
As a variable or as an attribute, right? So it has it has all of those views as attributes of binding, right? So there's the view, the text view departure time label. If you go here, here you'll find a text view departure time label, right? Here we go, text view departure time label, right? And what else? Just as another example. What are you doing? Come here. As an example, hold on 1 second. What is your malfunction, dude? Stop. Okay, so literally all of all of the views on that layout are bind to this this data binding
Right.
object. See,
Does it have
all
a
of
setter and a getter?
hmm.
Does it have a setter and a getter?
What do you mean?
Like, so how would you? Oh, like, just
Oh,
continue.
how would you interact with this?
Yeah.
Oh, like this. Binding dot, here we go. Binding dot, let's say I wanted to pull get the object for that gate, that text view gate or whatever.
Yeah.
Text view, here we go, gate, right? If I wanted to set that, it has all the same properties it did before, but I didn't have to go through it individually bind each one of them. All I needed to do was use this data class here, this data binding utility here, and tell it to bind to this view, and it binds, I'm sorry, this layout, and it binds all the views in the layout.
Right.
To this data, to this activity binding, activity main binding. So, and actually you notice that I right clicked on, I'm sorry, I control clicked on this, and it takes you directly to the
Interesting.
layout that it binds. So the changes I needed to make to this layout to make that work was to wrap the entire layout. Did I have to wrap the entire layout in a layout tag? I think so. Yeah, wrap the entire layout in a layout tag. Yeah, use layout as the root for the main activity to generate the activity. And that was it. Oh, and this one right here, where you have to enable data binding. But once you do that, to get a reference to all of your views on a layout at once, all you need to do is this.
Sweet.
Yep. So
I'm wondering if is that what the recycler view does? Instead of, because they talked about not using the find view by ID.
it could, you know, like in the back end, if that's what it does, maybe. So that POJO was just to contain the data, the fake data. It gives you a model view controller kind of thing, right? Yeah. So this is your view. This is your controller, should be, and that's your data. So that's what I was.
That's really neat. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to like find view by ID, find view by ID.
Nope. Okay. So that was one thing that I suggested they look at was, did I close it? I closed it. Was using data binding rather than a find view by ID. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering if that's applicable, because what they're doing, what it looks to me like he's doing is switching out layouts. Mm. It's an old trick from like, from years and years ago of web programming. You have a fragment or an include file that has just a fragment of a view. Mm-hmm. Or back in the day, a fragment of HTML, and you have logic that switches on or off or back and forth between each one of those fragments or mini HTML. And I bet you that's what he's doing there, and why there are why the layouts are even here. So if we look at this, then where is he using this? let's see. Okay, so here, right? He's saying if location is null, then you're gonna set this one to visible, else you're gonna set that one to visible. It's
well, is there another more, elegant way of doing it?
I can honestly say I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure why he has this, because it's commented out, right? This is the only place it's used, and it's commented out, right? That's another thing that, oh, wait a minute, maybe not. Okay, it's used here as well. So another observation I made is right here, right? So generally, if you're suppressing anything, you need to rethink the way you're coding, right? Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have to suppress anything. Unfortunately, it allows you to do it, but you shouldn't have to. So it looked like what I saw was, so he's checking the permissions here and then doing this get device location, right? If you look at find usage, that's one place he's using it. And then the other place he's using it, he's not checking the permission at all, right? Right. Or no. If location, okay, so if location has permission, but yeah, he's checking. I would argue these statements could probably be in this method itself, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a slight difference between what's being checked here and what's being checked here. You notice how this only has 2 parameters? Right. Right? And this one has 3 parameters. Also, this is the activity compat request permission, and I think this is a request permission from fragments. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the request permission from fragments. I can't tell, but I think that's the fragment. Yeah. So the question I guess I had at that point is, why are we switching from a fragment to an activity? Like,
if error shows up, you show a fragment. If it succeeded, then it shows a new activity or something.
Oh, it looks for the same thing, M activity. See? Mm-hmm. Unless M activity has a different value. Nope, it's the same. It's it's the same. It's the same activity.
Okay, scroll up a little bit.
I'll scroll it.
Okay. Wait, fragment extends from activity, right?
Hold on. It does not. It implements. No, it doesn't extend from anything.
Because that function get context, if you go back. Oh no, get activity. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just get activity. So this has the same value. It has a fragment. That's what it's getting, a fragment, right? So like why in one case did he use the request permissions from activity compat, and in the other case he used the request permissions from the fragment class, when he's always looking for the M activity, which is a fragment.
Right.
You see what I mean? So this is suspect to me. I would say that, I would definitely try and figure out why one was used instead of the other.
Mhm.
And then if it was just, a coding mistake or whatever, I would move this chunk of code right here
Mhm.
into this this method so that you don't have to suppress this here.
Yep.
So that this lives with the code that's using the permission, so that it doesn't think that you haven't checked for permissions. The other thing, let's see, so that's there. The other one, oh, I already went through that one. The fragments with the be more expressive. This one, I really wasn't sure what this method does or what the intent of it. It looks like it started doing something and then they stopped using it. So here's my thing: if it's not in use, get rid of it, right?
You can see how it's grayed out. It means that you're not using
Yeah.
it.
Yep. If it's not in use, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
This whole class is grayed out. Get rid of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only code that should be when you're ready to merge to master, you're only going to merge stuff that you actually want to be a part of the master code base. And incomplete code is not something that you want in the code base. The other thing that I noticed, and your IDE, my IDE, all of our IDEs are set up to do this by default, but I immediately get rid of mine because I find it annoying as all get out, is when you create a new class, it throws this tagline at the top telling, who is the creator or whatever. We don't need that. We have Git for that. This thing right here. Let me see if there's one.
Oh, you mean like the author of the?
Yeah, there's no point in that. It's clutter. It is clutter. This, I will argue, if you have to explain what it's doing, then you're not being expressive enough. I think you've heard me to say that before. If you have to explain what this class is doing, then it's not expressive enough, right? It should literally read like a book, and that is somewhat of a skill. But this one right here, right? No location, try again. So this is where using no of tabs and no location, it doesn't, see what I'm saying? So I understand this means, no connection error. But before, when you had no of tabs, you're using an abbreviation in one place and a word in another place in the exact same spelling. So that's why I would not use no in the other place. I would use it only when you're actually referring to the word no, not trying to abbreviate number. I mean, there's other ways to abbreviate number that are more less ambiguous, right? So
maybe a pound sign probably.
Oh no, you can't do that. You can't use a pound sign. You can use you cannot use symbols in a variable name. But let's say if he wanted to go back to that original one, and instead of writing out the word number, if he said num, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody knows that's an acceptable abbreviation for number. But really, this is the most expressive you can be, and it's only 3 more characters, so not a big deal. Okay, get rid of that one.
Hey, are we gonna have another meeting on Wednesday?
Probably, unless you just want to suspend meetings this week.
I mean, yeah, let's do another meeting on Wednesday, and I'm gonna get Ryan to come into our stand-up.
Okay.
Because we have questions to ask him, like,
True.
How do they keep track of blood donations?
Yeah, there has to be a way. So here's another bit of code that I'm confused about. Here's a variable that that he's initializing to true and never does anything else to it. So it's always true.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
what's the point of this? It's always true, right?
mm-hmm.
Maybe, I think this was where they were going to inject that preference. And if that's the case, then okay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But let's also look at this, right? They're doing this multiple times, and it doesn't vary depending upon the value of used miles, right? That doesn't change. So what I would do differently is I would pull this out of that and move it up one level, because it's the same regardless to whether they're using miles or kilometers. So to me, that's a dry principle violation. Don't repeat yourself. There was no reason to repeat this in both conditions, because it does this exact same thing. Just move it up one, and now it's doing the same thing without having to be initialized twice. Some other stuff that I saw, that there's quite a bit, so we don't have to go through it all, but in these pojos, I would suggest using Lombok.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm asking you guys to just remove these. There's no point in having them. That's pretty much the comment on every one of these pojos, is to get rid of the source header and to use Lombok. So with Lombok, something just happened. Too many fingers. With Lombok, let's see. Let's go back to that one class that I was working on. This one. New window. I think I had it set to Lombok, but then I got rid of it. I rewrote it as a, nope, wrong one. Come on. Okay. So with Lombok, your these just pojos or data classes, or however you want to describe them. In Kotlin, they're called data classes because they're obviously used, objects contain data. Let me go back. Let me do this. Add this dependency here, and it's just a compile time dependency, so it will not affect the size of your artifact, right? Your APK size won't grow by using this library.
Right. So basically, what it does is that you can create your Tojo, but you don't have to declare methods such as set this or get that.
Right. It dynamically does that for you at compile time. So if I were to add this here and sync, and then all of that means that, oh, come on. Sorry, I'm using my touchpad. I honestly don't like touchpads. I don't care who makes them. I don't like them. Let me get my mouse really quick. Did you have a good dinner, Chewy? Okay. So now that I have Lombok in my project, I can go to each one of those here, this geometry thing, instead of it being that, actually it would only be this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then add this as, so let me break down what he has. He just has getters and setters, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't override the toString or the hash or the equals, right? So if I just wanted to mimic exactly what he had, I can go do setter and then at getter, right? And that will, at compile time, create the setters and getters for all private variables.
Right.
But if I wanted to
So
also,
sorry. So does that mean that if I create a new, like a geometry object, and if I go geometry dot
I
get
can show you.
place or something?
Yep, I can show you.
Okay.
Here, let's go over. Let's go over here. All right, let's just throw it in here. Private geometry, right? Geometry, right? And then let's initialize it in here. This is, I'm just doing this to show you. Let me take it out. Geometry, and then.
Oh, you gotta say geo at top. On the top. You didn't. Yeah.
In fact, this doesn't even have to be a. Let's just not make it a parameter, but let's like initialize it in here using the new keyword, right? New geometry, right? Then in here, never used, okay. Here, let's say geometry dot, where are my getters and sitters? Where are the getters and sitters? Oh, no, yeah. How come I don't see the getters and sitters?
Maybe put add data or something.
I can do add data, but add data gives you more stuff than you normally need. But I know this was working before.
Oh, you gotta import the class, don't you?
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
No,
Yeah, right there. Oh, you also have to turn on the annotation processor. Uh-oh. Is that it? No. Hold on. Let me go to the settings. Plug in, no. Oh, where is it? Annotation processor. No. Okay, hold on. First, let's close this. Go back here, make sure I didn't skip anything. Did it do it now? Nope, still not showing up. Hold on, then let's do this. Shodo. So, use the Lombok plugin. Make sure you have version Android. Okay, I don't know where to find that. Use the Gradle plugin. If you don't want to use the plugin, add Lombok to your application dependency block or newer. Okay, did that. Android Studio, the following previous Gradle. In addition to, you need to add Lombok IntelliJ plugin. Oh, I forgot to do that. Sorry. Go to plugins. Ah, there we go. Lombok plugin. I swear I thought I saw it earlier. Okay, let's just restart.
So what went wrong?
I forgot to add the plugin.
Okay, so the dependency.
The IntelliJ plugin.
Right.
Yep. And you have to, so there's three things really. Well, there's one. If you have to have three, you have to have the Lombok dependency, you have to have the annotation Lombok annotation processor, and you have to have the Lombok plugin for the IDE to recognize Lombok. It would have worked without it, but you wouldn't see it in the IDE. And the IDE will show errors. Although it could build, it still will show errors.
Right.
I don't know why I do. That's like one of the things I always do is is download that plugin. Oh well. Then I'll show you something cool about with the Kotlin. So let's go back here. Oh, here we go. Let's wait for it to do its thing. So here we go. Lombok requires annotation plugin. Annotation processing. This is what I was looking for. Enable annotation processing. Okay. Do. All right, so geometry dot, come on, dot, there goes the getters and setters. See, you go to the getters, location view, viewport, and the setter location and the viewport. So if you go back to this this class here, it only has two properties or variables, and then Lombok automatically creates those for you right there.
Mm-hmm.
But and if I just want, yeah, if I just wanted that, not the because it also automatically overrides toString equals and hash code if you use @data, but you could use @setter and @getter, and it won't do those overrides. It'll just create the getters and setter for you. So then if you look here, you'll notice, come on. You'll notice, remember how before the toString, the hash, and the equal were also bold? They're not, that actually, they are now coming from the super class and not this class that you created. But what I ended up doing was like what I was doing with one of those things that I was playing around with was this. So where did he put them? Oh, in the model. Okay. So because it's so interchangeable, I can do this, right? K-geometry. And instead of having a Java class that needs this extra dependency, I can do this. Let's hope I can do this. I haven't tried it with annotations yet. Oh, darn it. No, it didn't work. Oh, yes, it did. But no, it didn't. Let's do this. Hold on. Tell it it's a data class K geometry, right? And then but it's gonna want a constructor, right? So let's see what it does. Safely, yeah, Collins not install computer. Yeah. Okay. So I believe I could, because do this. And then this becomes the, here. This becomes the data class for Kotlin. In fact, I don't need to do this. I think the scope is for by default. Okay. This is just a demonstration to show that what I needed that external library to do in, oh, for Jeebus. What I needed that external library to do in Java, it natively does it in Kotlin. This is the Kotlin, that's the Kotlin equivalent of that Java class.
Right. So it has Lombok built in or something?
It's just part of, well, yeah, it's native to Kotlin. So they have this data class. I mean, this an attribute, really. No, I'm not calling it the keyword. A data keyword, instead of using an attribute and a third-party class, they built it in. They built Lombok-like features into Kotlin. So if you go back to here, instead of doing geometry is
Getter, setter, you can just do data class, right?
I can make it a type K geometry. If this type K geometry, right? Remember, I'm in Java now, so I still need to work like I'm in Java. But there are my getters and setters, and it automatically overrides equals and hash code and the to do. Not really sure what the.
You can use Java and Kotlin interchangeably.
Hmm?
So you can use Java and Kotlin, like.
Yep, interchangeably.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yep. You certainly can. I mean, you absolutely can, which makes me wonder why it really is probably the most approachable secondary language on the JVM that I've seen yet, and that was including Groovy and Scala. I looked at both of them when they first came out. The cool thing about Kotlin is you can use it as a functional language. You can use it for object-oriented programming, and it doesn't feel like you're out of like you're hacking, right? So you could, can you use, no, you can't. You could kind of sort of use Groovy for functional programming, or kind of sort of build some halfway maybe sort of object in Scala, which is not really can't. But the point is, it does both really, really well.
Cool.
And it has built-in capabilities for writing the mathematical formulas for machine language. So, in fact, there was a was it a tech talk or a session at like Kotlin's version of I/O, where there was a guy talking about the case for using Kotlin for machine learning.
Oh,
I got probably 10 minutes through that before I got distracted, and now I can't remember where I found that video. I want to go back to it. Anyway, so that was some of the things that I was looking for in here. Like this one, I'm saying, this is a Pojo. View models are supposed to be Pojos, right? Please refactor this. This is why I like Kotlin a lot, because you can't do something like this, right? Where if it's a data class, it's a data class, and you can't embed business logic in the data class, right? It just won't allow it for it. Well, you can, but you have to go out of your way to do it. I don't know what this method is, but it is not just plain old Pojo. So I'm asking them to put this in a utility method somewhere, I mean, a utility class somewhere, and refer to it when they're using this object, this view model. What else? UI elements using what?
Hello?
Yes.
Hey.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, don't ask. I just got back from a 5-hour.
Okay, I don't know what you just said, but it didn't sound good.
No, I just drove for 5 hours to the airport just now.
Oh, sorry.
Dropped off my wife. You were just talking about that method over there, right when I
Which
came
one?
in.
This
The
one
one
down
you
here?
wanted us to move out. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so,
I'll tell you why that's there in the view model, because the issue, which I technically maybe don't have to do, the issue was that it's using a callback, right? I'm using the retrofit, which basically gets a callback, which will have all my data. So I guess I could pass the view model itself into a utility class and then set the callback there. But I have to just figure out if that could work. You know what I
but
mean?
why would you pass the entire view model though?
Because how else am I going to be able to set something in the view model via the callback in the utility class? Right? Meaning the data is being set over there in middle of on response, which is if response is successful, is a callback. So I have to have a reference to the view model to set the data of the view model in the callback. You see what I mean? It's just the way retrofit is done is that everything's with callbacks. So,
Yeah, I
you
get
know,
that, but I'm looking at this model and it's not actually using the view model. It's just using,
it is right over there. If location type, and near current location, that's set value, that is the live data object of the view model.
where am I seeing that?
In the if response is successful,
Okay.
and go down. So you get the list of results, right? And then you set it right over there, M near current location. Go down 2 lines,
Right here?
right there. So
Oh, okay.
that is
So,
the view model. That is the guts of the view model. That's the live data of the view model that we're setting, which will update the entire app, the entire activity, whatever. That's what I'm observing, in the main activity, in the whatever the activity.
okay, let me think about that then. I'll get back on that one.
Another question I had for you about the to-dos was, first of all, the Lombac business,
Hmm.
the Lombac stuff.
Yes.
It sounds like a great idea. I just have no clue how to do that. So,
Oh, I was just showing him.
Yeah.
I
okay,
was just showing him. I can walk you through it real quick.
okay. I'll just be silent a little of the time because I'm gonna eat. I didn't eat since 12 today, so
Oh,
I'll
wow.
just listen. I'm listening.
No, I can go through. I'll just go through it for you. You'll see that there's stuff in blue. So you would add these two dependencies.
Okay.
Then you would also install the Lombok plugin for IntelliJ, and that is basically you will do these two things. You will add these two dependencies for Android Studio. Add these two dependencies and install the Lombok plugin for Android Studio. Once you have that, the only thing you have to do to enable it in your code or to use it in your code, different project, sorry,
Sure.
right here, is decide which methods you want to use, right? So if you need getters and setters only, you do getters and setters. If you need getters, setters, override to string, equals and hash, you just do add data and it'll do it all for you. So you don't have to
Oh,
actually,
that's awesome.
yeah, you don't have to write those accessor methods or override those methods. It'll just do it for you. I was also showing him how Kotlin does all that for you just by using a keyword, a data keyword. So this is the Java class, and this is the Kotlin equivalent of it.
That's also cool. That is cool. I did see this I saw one video about Kotlin, and I did see this that point.
Yeah. And also I showed Brendon how they're quite interchangeable. So you could decide to do your entire model as Kotlin classes, and then utilize them exactly the same way that you would in Java. So like this K geometry, I just replaced geometry with K geometry. I'm gonna take this out. I just needed
Yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, either way, as I told you, we'll change the code in that other
in
other
the other place.
branch,
Okay.
because that's where, meaning it's basically almost everything you wrote. You know, the code review is still needed. Nothing like got taken away. The only thing that got taken away is one of those screens near home location, which you didn't exactly know what was going on, because basically nothing was going on because you dumped it.
Okay.
But besides for that, we just added an additional activity, which Anuja was showing you last time. We had where basically we were able to search an area and it had the places, you know, autocomplete and all that cool stuff. So you'll see it in that other branch.
Okay.
What else? I thought I had another question I wanted to ask you. I'm not in front of my computer right now. I'm about to do. You wanted me to take, when you say to take out that stuff, the source header, you mean that created by?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that was just auto-generated, so I never took it out, but yeah.
Yeah. What I end up doing is this. If you look at my default, well, I don't have it anymore because I got rid of it. Basically, if I create a class, it does not input that stuff there.
I hear. Okay.
It just doesn't input it.
Right.
It keeps it clean. And I think if you, I forget how you do that. If you, how did I get rid of it? There was a way that I got rid of it. But it has to do with clicking on this and, edit template, and see how my
Take it out.
file header template is empty.
Right.
Get rid of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's easy.
That way it'll never put it there again. You don't want to pollute your code with a bunch of comments. It really should be more as expressive as possible. That's what I was talking about up here. Instead of using no of tabs, right?
Right.
Use number of tabs, and I think it became really clear when we got to somewhere else where it says, where you use the word no as the word no and not the abbreviation for number. So if you look at it at first glance, if somewhere else had it as no for number and the other place had it as no as the word no, it gets confusing, or it will become ambiguous. So
Right.
it's really,
By the way, all those model classes, those are auto-generated.
You mean they're auto-generated?
Meaning you take the JSON object and just copy paste it into I forgot what it's called, website, and they just auto-generate the Java classes for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, the naming and all that stuff, it gets very annoying. Like, the naming is result, and really what they are is locations. It's, it's just whatever. And don't ask, and like locations was like contradicting the Android location. It was a little messy.
Yeah. Let's see, let's delete this. And well, another thing you can do, so like if this is automatically generated from some website, right? You can change this to latitude and longitude if you want. Also, you can actually create, like this is the exact same class as the other one. What I would do is create a base class that's called, I don't know, let's just call it something, right? I would do this. Take this and create a base class that's called direction, right?
Yes, it's more like, I think, GPS, like they could go either northwest or southwest. You ever saw that? Like I don't know what it does. I have no clue, but that's what it is technically.
Let's call it GPS map points or whatever, right? And then there's a couple ways you can do this. You can make this a abstract,
Abstract.
right?
And those will extend that class, right?
Yep. Why is this not like being an abstract? Oh, yeah. Abstract class, sorry. And then, just for my sanity, this is latitude, and this is longitude, right?
Yeah, I'm just, funny that you get what's it called about that, because actually I think Android themselves, they have get lat and get long.
Yeah, just
That's
annoying. It annoys me. Probably because, like I was telling Brendon, like 25 years ago when I was working on a mid-range computer and I had a maximum of 8 characters to name variables, we got real creative. We don't have to do that anymore. And I embrace the fact that we don't have to do that anymore. But that's just, so I extend. Do I extend or implement? Extend.
No, implements for interface, no?
Yep. Okay. So now, was that northeast? Yeah, that was northeast. So now, just for ha-has, let's do northeast. Equals new northeast. And then north. Nope.
No. Because it's abstract. You have to implement it. No, you have to. With the abstract class, you have to override. No, not override. What's it called? No. You have to like do overrides of the abstract methods. No, something like that. Am I making sense? No.
Yep. Either implement.
No, it definitely extends it, but check at over. If you don't, you have to. Whenever you have an abstract class, don't you have to basically fulfill that? I don't know, contract, whatever. You have to do what it's supposed to do in this class.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, never mind. That's why.
Well, either way, I don't know if this will help us, because the truth is, I don't know exactly how retrofit works, but it needs a class with in the exact same, structure as the JSON. You have it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So maybe it can work. We could try it.
So, but you're saying it needs these annotations here?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I just came from where I read about it online. This is how they did it.
Okay.
I didn't deeply go into the framework, just for lack of, attention span. But yeah, that's why I just had it this way. I just did exactly how they have it. Get all the classes.
Yeah.
I don't even need some of these classes, but I don't know if it'll just explode because it doesn't see all the classes that it has to map to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need the photo at this point. I definitely don't need some other stuff that's there.
Right, but if that's in the JSON, then you need to have it.
Yeah. I think that if it's in the JSON, it has to be an object, so you don't run into problems.
Yep. But that's just a demonstration there on how if you have classes that have similar
100%.
properties, you can definitely not have to repeat them over and over again. Use the abstract class to get there. Okay, so
yeah.
But the cool thing about Kotlin, not to keep harping on that, is I wouldn't have multiple classes like here for my model. Actually, I would just keep adding this. I would actually call model.
Right.
This class, this file name, I would call, hold on, rename file.
Refactor, rename.
That's not it. Sorry.
The top one. Refactor and the top
I
one.
keep
is rename.
selecting the wrong one. Nope, I'm gonna rename the file.
Oh.
Notice how that didn't cause an error because Kotlin expects you to put all of your model objects or all your data type definitions in one model file. So I would go like for this one, I would create another data class that's called north, east, right? And then define that data class here. And I would define my entire model in one class. That's what Kotlin expects you to do.
Okay.
That is a bit convenient, in my opinion, to have it all in one place. But I'm not sure why it expects you to do this, but it does. Forget where I was doing. Where was I? Kotlin. Where was I? Oh, it was one of the videos that I bought from Pact. Sorry. I know what the key combination is for this, but it's weird on my keyboard. So what am I looking for? Join. Not see it. This is, so that would be the Java equivalent of that class. I mean, the Kotlin equivalent of that class. And
What's
then,
with the K's? Why do you put the K before?
because there's already a class named Northeast.
Oh, meaning because you're writing Kotlin, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
There's already a class named Northeast, and if I were to compile this, it will tell me there's an ambiguous class name.
Right,
So,
right. Understood.
anyway, just an example. The other thing was just this one, the compiler tells you about this one, about the, here, let's get rid of this, about the redundant variables. What I was telling Brendon is I look for that to be for a green check mark right there. And 9 times out of 10, if I'm looking, if I have that green check mark, then I have pretty okay code. I would say it's stellar. It's just doesn't have any obvious issues. This one, it's giving warnings based upon those to-dos that are there. There are three warnings because there are still to-dos in the code. But if like I would take this out, you see that'll turn green. Did it turn green?
Still orange.
Did not turn green. It's just, well, what is the warning?
Oh, well, I remember what else I wanted to tell you.
Okay.
About the where was it? When I suppressed the lint for
Right.
So basically, I actually saw that code in some of the maybe even the demo code from Google. The thing is, if your call, it drives you crazy because if you, let's say you want to check the locations in whatever class it is, right? So you make sure that you have the location permissions, and then you call a helper function or utility function to do some action with the location. So it's going to hit you up in both places to make sure that you have the data, that you have the permissions, even though you're only calling this function from within somewhere where you already checked for permissions. And if you were to leave it out in that first place, it'll give you an error over there. So you basically have to write the permissions check in two separate places, or however many it is, however far up the tree you go that you're calling, you're trying to get the location.
So let's see.
It's in two places. In one of the utility classes, maybe location utils, and it's in the code. See, where is it?
So this one right here, right? So this is the one I was looking at primarily, right? So
Right. So where's that called? That is called
right here.
That's an activity. Where is that?
Get device location. It's called right here, like right above where it's written. I mean, where it's right above where it's written. It's also called.
Look over there, right? I think this is right. If grant results at length equals and it equals permission granted, and equals permission granted, then get location. Meaning, I just checked for the location permissions right there, and then it's going to hit you up by that function. Also, make sure that you have the permissions. And if I put the permissions check in the function, but not in the other function, meaning in the second function, not in the first function, it's going to hit me over there. So basically, it needs every time you mention the word you mention the word location, it wants to make sure that you have permissions.
So you're saying you're using this to determine whether you want to do this.
Exactly. And you need to. I mean, you could try to take this code out and just put it in get device location, which I don't think makes sense really, because you don't want to. I just don't think, first you want to check and then you want to get the device location. You don't want to put the check in the get device location.
That would be the first thing I do, and I would abandon it if I didn't need to. First thing I would do is check the permissions, and if I didn't have permission, I would abandon this method. But that's just my way of coding. I've seen it.
Even say you would do it, if you would do it like that, I think you would still get a lint problem because, what was the issue? Maybe not. Maybe if you stick everything, I mean, I know I tried sticking everything there and I still got a lint problem. I don't remember what the issue was.
Okay, let's do this.
Try it.
Well, let's just do this. Let's create another one, and instead of get, let's find.
I think.
So one thing I also do, and this is just my personal preference as far as coding style is, I use the word get for accessor methods only. And if I'm looking for something else, I'm finding it, or I'm searching it, or I'm retrieving it, but I only use get for accessor methods. That's just my own personal coding style. That way I can look at this and tell you it's an accessor method, or tell you it's not an accessor method. And it makes it, in my opinion, less ambiguous.
Okay, that's definitely something I will probably start doing. It makes a lot of sense.
So let's see. Okay, so we have the find. Why is this all of a sudden an error?
Where?
Oh, that's the lint problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the lint problem. Okay. So, right? What the heck? All right. So let's take, for example, these up here. Oh, here's one of the things that we were looking at and couldn't figure out, right? So M-activity is always, let's see.
The activity. You get activity, no?
Yeah, it's always the activity, right? So when you're looking for the permission in one place, you're using the has permission, the has permission method from the activity compact, and the other place you're just using it from the fragment class.
Where is it? That could be just a mistake, but where is that?
So right here, am I sharing still? Yeah, okay.
You're sharing. I can see. I'm just on my
Yeah.
iPhone, so like I have to squint.
Oh, sorry. It's on line 112 and then again on line 122.
Well,
I'm sorry,
I'm
120.
looking at 158. I can't see 122. Maybe not sharing anymore. Are you
I am
sharing?
sharing. Can you see me?
I
Brendon?
see you, and I see the code, but I just see it at line 158 to 185. I don't see 122.
It hasn't updated yet then.
Yeah, probably you moved up, and it just didn't.
So
Oh no! Can you move around? Nod your head. Are you nodding your head?
I'm swinging my head back and forth.
So
Sorry.
I'm not seeing that. I'm not
Okay.
seeing you nod
I
your head.
don't
So I
want to do
guess
that too
something.
much because I did injure my neck.
Oh yeah, you just had whiplash. I'm sorry. You should have waved your hand.
It's okay. I'm holding that side of the neck. I wasn't going to go that far. I just took something. I forget what it was.
Vicodin, Percocet.
No, they don't give you the good stuff. They give you hydrocodone.
Oh come on.
That's not the good stuff.
I'm gonna open up my computer, see if I could see it on there. I'm just long day. I need a drink. You look much better, by the way. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but you definitely look much better.
Oh, from the other day? I was crying the other day. I was like,
Yeah, but you weren't just crying. You just looked like you were just
in pain?
like, yeah. What happened? You were in an accident?
No, everybody asked me that. No, the guy, we were in Jersey, right? So, and if you've ever been, I don't know where you live, but if you've been in Jersey, then
I live in Jersey.
you live in Jersey. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you know that you guys have those weird left turns that either you do a hairpin turn or you do a wide left turn, but you ended up on two different streets that fork out, right? Kind of those left forks. Anyway, this guy, I was navigating and he was driving, and I guess he decided to text his son. So I'm like, okay, on the next left turn, on the next street, turn left. And he missed the sharp left, and I was like, okay, you just missed our turn. And he stopped really hard. And he was like, oh, wow, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like that's going to leave a scar because I can feel my head just bouncing around or whatever. So like an hour later, my neck started hurting, and it started hurting bad. And then I got on the plane, and that was a rough drive. I will never ride you.
Crazy.
That was a rough ride. But even before I got on the plane, I bought one of those neck pillows just to keep my neck stabilized. It was hurting so bad, right?
Yeah.
Then that night when I get home, it was like midnight, and I have BioFreeze that I use for running injuries. I put some of that on it and still didn't do anything. And then Friday, all day Friday, I was icing it, and it was getting worse and worse and worse, right? So Saturday afternoon, I was like, okay, I have to take my dog to get his rabies shot. And after that, I'm going to go to urgent care. And then I realized that all the urgent cares would be closed by the time
Oh my God.
his, because they close at 5, or some of them close at 3. So I ended up at the ER anyway. So I ended up just going to the ER, and they were like, yeah, you have a neck strain. And then it's compounded with, a muscle spasm. So the strain actually triggered a spasm in my neck. So
Oh my God.
ice actually made it worse because the muscle was so tense. Yeah. And the guy, I told him, like, you gave me whiplash. He's like, no, you didn't. No, I didn't. You probably slept wrong on your neck. And I'm like, no, I would know that. That's not what happened. It wouldn't start hurting at 3 p.m. if I'd slept wrong on it. It'd be hurting way before then.
Yeah.
So I took today off as well. I'll be back at working tomorrow. But
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
yeah. And they're like, you sure you didn't get in an accident? They took an x-ray, like nothing's broken or fractured, but like, you know how there's like a natural curve to your neck, like in this area? Like there's no curve there. It's just straight, like from your shoulder straight up and down. It's like the muscle is so tight, and I'm like, because right there is where I sprained it. Even now,
So
I
what,
can touch it and it hurts. Like I touched the
so
side
what
of
could
my.
they do about it? They could do anything about it, or there's
Well,
nothing to do?
they gave me the drugs. They're trying to get the muscle to relax. So then I need to go back, and if it's still hurting, go back and do an MRI. But they gave me an anti-inflammatory, a muscle relaxer, and a pain management.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Oh my god. Look at my phone. Can you see? Oh.
you're in stereo.
Yeah, no, I just put on my computer. My phone, it wasn't on your end, it was on my end. My end was my phone was messed up. Let me just move you on to my uh, headphones so you don't wake up my kids. Okay, what am I?
So you see here, so you see here how it how with this one you're using the request permission from the fragment class, and with this one you're doing the request permission from the activity compat class.
1 second. That's on 112 and 123.
23.
Let me look
Yeah.
at my code. Again, that might be, I'm gonna look at my code because what is going on? Oh, I'm sorry. That might be from an older version. 112. Yeah, it's definitely from older version because my numbers are different. But this is on try again. Oh, because the try again is really not, I don't know what went on over there, to be honest. That was like done a little spur of the moment. Request permissions. Where's request permissions is done with the fragments request permissions. Yes, I think this is a mistake.
Okay.
This should not be activity compat because I think there was an issue, because I'm in a fragment, there was an issue using activity compat. You're not supposed to.
Okay.
1 second,
So
so why is this one? See, look at me, I don't even know what my code is.
okay, if they're the same exact code block, then
It
yeah.
should be the exact same code block, right? One just on a listener,
And I would put this in a method and call the method, right?
request
In
permissions.
fact, yeah, in
Well,
fact,
request permission is a method. I mean, what, do the whole if block?
yeah, this is copy paste, so like dry, don't repeat yourself, right?
Right. Let
Um,
me just think of the only
but
reason why
what
I
I
would
would
do
do
that.
instead is this. So
I'm not looking at you. Let me look at you. Yeah.
what I would do instead, since they're exactly the same thing, let's use this. Oh, sorry. I keep tweaking my neck, which makes me wonder whether I actually should go back to work, right? So, right. So if this isn't correct, then actually, no. If it doesn't have permission, then request permissions.
Yeah, because you don't want to return. But this is doing the actual requesting permissions, and then, right?
Hold on.
You have to
Go back. So let me read this again. If location has permissions, if it doesn't have permissions, then request permission. Right?
right. Else get device location, and I think in the request permissions callback, right? That is a callback. I think that if if the permission, then it'll do that. It'll get the device location here after it has the permissions.
Callback. So there's a
There
callback
should be
for
a callback on
on
request permission results. And what it's doing over there is just if we got okay, then we get the device location. If not, we'll set the error message.
okay. That makes a little bit more sense.
See, I knew I wasn't crazy.
Yes, you are, but it still makes sense. So
What?
so why?
What's this? Where are you now?
I'm back into this.
Back in the fragment?
Yeah. Location.
What fragment are you looking at? Just near current location?
Yeah, yeah, near current location.
This is confusing because I think some of that code I definitely refactored a lot of that code on
Okay.
my next iteration. I don't even see the code that you're looking on right now. Where is that? Find device location.
No, this is the method I was playing with. I'm gonna take it
Oh,
out. But
oh, you were confusing me. Let me see.
you can use this as a lambda instead of. Oh God. There.
Right. I'm very not good with lambdas. I did like one or two of them. Like,
Hmm.
I'm just not good with lambdas, but I should really get the hang of it more. But yeah.
Yeah. Certainly can or do. But so at minimum, I would make this a method because you're doing the exact same thing in both places. There's no difference, right? It's literally copy and
Right.
pasting this code. So
This is right. And the on click is basically we're just we're basically, if the guy didn't give us permissions yet, or guy or girl, then we're basically just prompting them to do the exact same thing again. Like, you're right. It's the exact same thing. Literally. Well, don't put the else in. Just because then the name, what you're going to call it, get check permissions and get device location. Okay. It's basically doing two things a function
get
now.
rid of the duplicate code. That's all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That should make sense, right?
Yep. In fact, you notice how it found that code block that was exactly the same and
And it's
replaced
just automatically replaced it.
yeah,
Yep.
and automatically replace it with the method call.
Yep, that's cool.
Uh,
But what's driving me crazy is now, okay, I guess commit this and then I'll put it back into the new code because, like, right, I'm not going to be fixing this. I'm going to be fixing
no,
the
you can't. But yeah, you're right. But what you can do?
By the way, what did you do over there? You did refactor and something to take it
Oh,
out that method?
I will show you.
Please
Let's
do.
go back. So I found the code block that.
Right?
Hold on. Is this it?
That
Where
was
did
it.
it
Well,
once? Where's the
right there. Oh, the
where-
other one is in the on click.
here?
With
Let's
the
do.
on click.
Hold on. Let's just do this because all the other stuff is whatever. All right. So where it had where it has this and this, right? So
Right.
they're exactly the same. I highlighted what I wanted to go into the method. I did refactor, extract method,
Method.
yeah, and then
Just gave the method name.
yep, and that's it.
Very cool.
Now I notice how this time it
Now
didn't.
it didn't work. Yeah, it didn't
Because
work.
it's not the same, right? What's
Why?
different? Remember? There was another change. Let me undo it one more time. There was another change that I made before I did that. The other change was this is calling the wrong version of
Right,
get.
right.
There we go.
Request. Right.
And then
No, what's it doing? Why did it do that? Oh, context.
yeah, now they're exact duplicates. And if they're exact duplicates, I can do this now. Strap method.
Might want to just change the font after you typed it out.
And then did it do it?
Yep, now it did it.
Both.
That's awesome.
Do away with the lambdas. I mean, we can do the lambdas. And we can do the lambdas here. So I was talking to Brendon about, you've gone through the course now, right? You're finished?
Yeah, I'm basically finished. I mean,
Okay.
I finished. Some lessons I might have to redo, but I finished.
Yeah. So I was talking to Brendon about
Data binding?
data binding. Yeah. We were going through that. That's one of the recommendations I made, just because it's something that we covered in the course, and I think it just makes it cleaner.
Right.
I think it's
There were
just
very few gets. It's more defined you by IDs. It's, where would it be? I don't even know. Well,
done right here.
right over there by the whiz and the adapter.
Yeah, and then you have back over here where you were switching switching layouts. That's at least 1, 2, that's 3 there.
Right.
4 there, 5 here. So
Right.
it's enough to
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
using the
By the way, designing UI in Android
uh,
is a pain in the ass.
there's
And-
definitely
oh, did you see? You saw what I posted? Everybody saw that the main activity page.
no, I didn't see it yet.
Oh, look on Slack.
From which day?
It's from web meeting that study hall. It's, I don't know what day. Well, before your lovely video.
Before my gift.
Yeah.
I was in pain.
It's like basically the
This
day
one?
before that.
Oh, this one?
Where are you? Yeah. So yeah, go. So
That looks nice. Is this a mock-up or is this the actual redesign?
no, it was a mock-up, and then I got to redesigning it.
Okay.
Now that was go up one more. That the main this one. This is like the main, the main page of details. You can't imagine how annoying this is to do.
Yes, I can.
It is beyond annoying. It is no, but I'll tell you why. Because you know the issues that there are with having constraint layouts in a scrolling view and having a view pager in a scrolling view. It is insane. How could they not? They give you a beautiful constraint layout to work with, but then you can't scroll it. It's ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. And the view pager, you cannot have a view pager in a scrolling view. Meaning, it's retarded. I'm sorry. I got very upset. I was really upset. I'm beyond livid. I basically have it somewhat worked out. I don't have it worked out. My issue, if you have a fix for it, I would be eternally in your debt. How to get a view pager in a scrolling view.
Yeah, I can help you with that one. I know about as much as you do. You know a lot more than I do about the UI side of Android.
So basically, what I want to have is that this whole thing will scroll up, right?
Oh, the comment sections?
No, the whole entire screen, meaning everything it'll just scroll up.
Okay.
You don't have to see the header area, the whole time.
Okay.
You'll scroll back and scroll up. But due to the fact that this is a tab layout using a view pager, you can't put that in the scrolling view. So you can't scroll it. So I was banging my head in the wall like you can't imagine how many times. It I still don't have a fix. I could set the layout, the height of the view pager, you know, statically, and then it'll show. But it's just, but you like it?
Yeah, I do actually. I'm gonna post this if you don't mind to this channel here. Group
And by
project.
the way, the colors, I think those will be our colors. I'm not making the choice for everybody, but basically, if you look on their website, the LLS website, those are their colors.
Okay.
So it's very, at least in this iteration where it's all for the LLS, you know, charity, it's always good to have familiar colors. It just adds trust, and you know, they just recognize it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I
Yeah,
wanted.
those emails are good, man. Aaron, nice job.
Thank
Yes.
you, thank you.
Like, they are perfect. Like, it's really, really nice. Love
I'm
it.
trying to get them to pin their everybody to pin their group projects into the so that we can keep track of them. Like
Oh,
that's ours. And then anyway, I'm trying to get them to do that. Okay, so this one yeah, we have Brendon said his friend, I can't remember your friend's name, so sorry.
Ryan?
Ryan, yes, you're gonna have him on the call on
Yeah,
Wednesday,
Yep.
so that we can first present him what we have so far, and then and get some feedback from him on it. But we also need to know how without an app at all, how does he keep track of the blood donations?
Right. I don't even know if he does. Does he have it? Is he doing this already?
Yeah, he's doing like a lot of events around Indiana. But I'm
Right,
not
but is he
sure.
keeping track of the blood donations, or is it just
I
like,
don't know.
right,
Maybe not. I
right?
think it's only um, like fundraising and not.
You know, at the end of the day, it could be we'll just have to have that as sort of a pledge thing, you know? Like you can't prove it, but they could put in a pledge, and you know, you'll show how much is pledged. That at least will show something. The money we'll be able to get, you know, via whenever we get it set up, just giving, but the donate blood will be with, you know, with pledges or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And that could be easily put in. We could put in, let's say, I'm sorry?
I think that's a good idea, is to keep track of blood donation pledges rather than the actual amount donated.
Yeah, it'll take away a lot of the difficulties in actually keeping track of it.
And well, until at least we figure out how to keep track of it. I'm totally for making that a blood donation pledge.
Right. And that would be easy to implement. Basically, when they put in donate, we'll change, let's say, the instead of find locations, make a pledge, and they'll have, you know, a text box, whatever, however that's set up to make a pledge, and then from there we'll direct them to find locations or whatever. You know, it could be easily fit into the current. I just see I made a typo in curing.
Yep, I saw that too, but I was gonna just fix it later.
Yeah, that happens. Well, you had not in the. I mean, this is just the mock-up,
This is
and
just
even this text, I guess he'll give us. You know, meaning some of this we're gonna get, I assume, from the. Let me explain a little my ideas. My idea is basically that page, right?
Mhm.
Those pages are the campaign pages. Meaning, for now, because our MVP is just one campaign, that'll be the main activity. But
Mhm.
in the next iteration, this will be every campaign. Will have you'll have a list of campaigns would be the main activity,
Mhm.
right? Something similar, and then this will be each campaign specific activity, and we'll get the data about the campaign. Let's say in the details, right? There's different, you know, the header and the story and the different which charity and the registration number, all those stuff we'll get through just giving whatever API we choose to use. For now, it could be hard coded because we're just, or not, or we could also get it from them, however we decide to do it. But in the future, like this, it'll be more whatever the word is. You basically will be able to evolve it easier. Just we'll have everything, the exact same data that we would technically get from just giving whatever data they provide. Because I know that they do provide the registration number, and they do provide a header, and they do provide the story.
Yep.
So like that I knew. So from there and after that, we'll for more campaigns or whatever, we'll just make the queries, and for this time we could do that, or we could just hard code it.
Yeah. You definitely can. No, I'm good. That's actually, for me, UI work is not putting together UI is not the hardest part. For me, the hardest part with any UI is coming up with the UI. So I'm really good at taking what I see and recreating it, whether it's in this or in HTML, in CSS or whatever, but it's envisioning what it should be to begin with.
Yeah, that is the hardest part.
Yeah, the only one that I ever came up with that I knew exactly the way I wanted the UI to work, because I knew how I wanted the app to function, was with my containerized app, which I'm going to get to at some point. I'm stuck on one point, but I'm stuck there because I want to be stuck there. I just realized that.
Yeah, but I did this for 3 years, so it's a little bit easier.
This hamburger icon gives you a menu.
Oh, right. That is not necessarily in the plans. I just put that there.
No, but that is in the plan for my app. I'm just like 4 steps ahead of you guys right now, my app. So my big thing about that is I've not used fragments before, so I know that I'm going to have to use fragments. And I've just been.
Well, you're going to use, they have there's a class, right, there's an activity that does it, right?
Yeah, it's a navigation drawer.
Yeah, they have the navigation drawer activity or whatever.
Yeah.
So that probably takes away half the work from you, not building your own, right?
Yeah, well, it does some automatic coding for you, but it doesn't. Brendon, you sent me a link of was it an updated navigation drawer?
Updated?
You sent me something, and I don't recall where you probably Slack.
That was a while back, I think.
Yeah, about sometime last week or the beginning of last week or the end of the previous week. I don't remember, but where did you
I think I sent it straight to your inbox or something.
Oh, to my email?
No. I mean, so look for my name in your Slack. Look for my name.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at our DMs and I don't see it. It's not there. This is about anti-patterns. Patterns and anti-patterns. View model. Okay. Yeah, we talked about that. And that's the architecture. No, that was me sending it to you. So
By the way, Shellee, where did you read? You said that view models are only supposed to be POJOs?
I thought so.
I don't know, because in Android, meaning it's supposed to, from what I understood reading up on it, it's supposed to do all the, non-UI related stuff. Meaning any non-UI related, let's say a query call to the web server should be done in the view model. I mean, that's just what I understood, because where else do you do that?
Yeah, I wish they had included the, architecture in this course, but they didn't.
Yeah, and they don't include it in the advanced course either, I don't think. At least I didn't see it.
No, they don't.
These are old courses. These courses they're not new.
Yeah.
They've been around for a while. They don't talk about any of the new.
Which sucks. Anyway, I can't find it. You must have emailed me.
I don't think I've emailed that to you.
Nobody would email you, Shellee. You said you don't look at emails. Everybody heard that. You don't look at emails.
I don't, but I don't have it in my Slack either. Where's my phone? Oh well, I'll look later. You probably emailed it to me. Mm.
Oh.
Okay. So anyway, what you could do, what you could do is not this.
Where are we?
Actually, I want to do this. Just revert this whole everything all these changes that I made because I'm just tinkering right now. Let's see. Revert everything. All right. But what you could do to compare across branches, so you can click, do get compare with branch, and select a branch to compare with. So I tried to do this earlier and it was telling me, here we go. So yeah. So like whatever your branch is that has the latest code in it.
Compare those and we'll see the to-dos and whatever.
Yeah, so I don't know which, well, for crying out loud. Compare with branch. Which one did you say has
I thought I deleted them. List with in-app apps. In-app maps. List with in-app maps. Second, third from the bottom.
all right, so that shows you the difference, which I just had to-dos. You can just
Right.
do that for or you can actually do it for the entire project, I think. No, you can't. Oh yeah, compare with branch.
Yeah, that's what you just did.
Yeah, but I selected the entire. Oh, let's do a file at a time.
File by file. Well, that's annoying. Okay.
Yeah, but it's what the what? I just what the what? Okay, this one. Shows it. Okay, there we go. So yeah. But it's just, you know what I don't like about this compare? It doesn't let you do it both
Confusing?
ways. Well, huh?
Yeah, I have to get used to this. It's
Yeah, you have to be in the branch load. So ow. So which one of those branches is it? This one?
in-app map.
This one?
In-app maps. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I can compare this one to the code review branch.
That's what you did.
Code review. Here we go.
All right.
Now it shows like that's the difference, but you know what that difference is. But if you go to, for crying out loud.
What is that?
Yeah, it just means I need to sync.
Oh.
I think Anuja is working on unit testing, right? Or
Yeah, I think she took that.
Yeah.
I think she espresso. I think she took espresso. And who was with us last time? Angel. I think he said
He would look at unit testing. Yeah.
Unit testing. And Troy just sent some sort of message. I don't know where he's a little mad of it probably. No, not to you directly. To our channel. Yeah. Right there.
We need to figure out what those Firebase crashes are, because I think every time we log into the app, he gets a Firebase crash report.
Yeah. I mean, is he gonna come help a little more? Like, is he out? Is he still in? Because he was gonna do the Firebase stuff, right?
Yeah, he did the regular login, and then I was supposed to do the Google login, which I still will do. So I want to refactor the way he did login.
Right.
But then he was also going to do Facebook login. That's the last thing he was going to be working on, but I don't know.
Right, and at this point, we don't need the live database, really.
No, we don't need the live database, but
Firebase,
yeah, we don't really use Firebase for the database anyway. We use Firebase for well, for login, it keeps track of the unique email, like if you're going to log in by email, but we use it for the user database, and that's it.
Well, but on the future point, meaning if we would have, let's say, multiple campaigns, we're going to need somewhere to. Oh no, we just go through just giving. Okay, sure.
We're just using it for authentication, which is good.
Well, the blood pledges we need a database for if we're going with pledging, right? Because we're going to have nowhere. We're going to have to keep track of that ourselves.
Yep. Yeah, if we're going to keep track of blood pledges, we want to keep it in our database. That also will help us keep track of unique pledges from
users. Well, yeah, you'll be able to. Well, the user could always pledge more, and we can never prove that they didn't do that.
Right.
You know, I guess you assume somebody's using a cure cancer app. He's not going to be pulling games to some degree. You know, yeah, you can assume it, but
you should be able to donate to one campaign once.
Okay, but okay. You don't want to stop people from donating, but
I also don't want anybody to spam a campaign a bazillion
right.
times and make it look like one person is winning.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So we have to figure out the happy medium over there. Okay. Do you wanna? Let me see. Let me show you. No, actually, no, it's fine. So I'm right now I'm working on the UI that I showed you.
Yep.
Right, that one that you saw. That's what I'm working on. Just the UI part, not the no functionality, no, none of the buttons. That's what I'm doing. I don't know how long it'll take me. Especially I got another job now that I have to take care of. So
that's fine.
I'll try to put in my time.
Yeah, we're not in a rush. In fact, Brendon's still working on the course. I think he's going to complete it before.
You almost done?
Almost.
Where are you? What lesson?
Content providers.
Building content providers or just content? I thought you were on backgrounds.
Building content providers. Well,
okay. You didn't even talk backgrounds yet. Background I ripped through a little, probably too quickly. But
yeah.
The way I look at a lot of this stuff is it's not going to get in your head until you actually do it. Yeah. Until you actually do it. So you get the ideas.
A couple times, actually.
Yeah, and you reference back, and that's the only way it's going to get in your head either way. So just go through it, see what they're showing. Do the exercises, and then hopefully build an app soon that just will show that type of stuff, and then.
Oh, thank God I put the clap on this thing.
You finished the course, right, Aaron?
I finished this week. What's today? I finished this week. Last week, my head's not working right now, but I think I finished the end of last week.
Right. Yeah, I'm planning to get the content provider done tonight, and so tomorrow I might get half of the background task done tomorrow, hopefully.
The background task is going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But the last two ones, polishing UI and UI, they're not. They might take time just to do the exercises, but there's not much. It's not as intellectually difficult.
They're just tedious.
Yeah, exactly. They're just that's UI. Welcome to UI. That's UI. Just tedious. Shellee, I just wanted to ask you, because you do this code review as that's your profession. How was the code? This is the first time.
Perfect, Aaron. Don't worry.
No. I want constructive criticism. That's what I'm looking for.
No. I mean, it was good. In fact, I was impressed in some places because I don't think that I would have thought to do certain things a certain way.
Okay, no, good. I just want I like constructive criticism. I'm learning. This is the first time I'm coding in Java. Really coding in Java, and been doing a little bit in 6 years. 6 years ago, I did some, but then I totally put it aside, and I did mostly like JavaScript and HTML, CSS. I haven't done real coding in a long time.
Yeah.
So,
the only thing I would recommend going forward is so I would have said make sure you have a clean code base to check in. But now that you tell me this isn't the branch that you guys wanted me to review, it makes more sense why there was so much stale code in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, the other one does have some stale code, and it's not perfect, but it's definitely I think it was definitely better than this
Yeah.
one. I definitely refactored a lot of stuff, and I think, unless I didn't, I think I did. Than what we had here.
So the other thing, and it's not a real so much as a criticism of your code as it is my kind of word of wisdom.
Yeah.
I try to write my code and so that it reads like a book. And that's one of the things about Kotlin I like. It's very expressive. Even the way you initialize a variable makes sense, right? It just reads so cleanly. For example, did I get rid of it? Okay, so for example, this is private double lat, right? In Kotlin, you would say it's private. I mean, you would say that it's a variable named lat of type double, and it just seems like the way that you read it, it's just more intuitive.
It's kind of like Swift, right?
I don't know. I did Swift for like a few hours a couple years ago.
Well, everybody online, like, they compare it like to Swift, like they make it like Kotlin and Swift. They put it together online like as two very similar languages.
Okay.
I never did Swift. I did a little Objective-C back when that was the stuff. I never did Swift.
Oh, Objective-C is painful.
Oh, with those brackets, yeah, it was a pain.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, I did it. Did you? Yeah, what's his name? Stanford's course on introduction to.
Yeah.
So I did it when I did most of that course when they did, when they were doing an Objective-C. I didn't finish a course because I'm a little ADD like that, but I did a lot of it.
Yeah.
But that was years back.
They have really good lectures.
Yeah, they have
Swift too.
They have very good stuff.
Yeah.
They have also. Did you see the two intros? Meaning they have like the intro with Java, and then they have a more advanced intro into programming.
No.
Like they go through all more advanced programming topics, recursion and data, binary trees, all that type of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're also it's very good. It's good. Yeah, the best one I ever saw was Harvard CS50. Did you ever go through? You went through that?
I went through
It's on iTunes.
191.
Available on iTunes.
He tries to cover himself up.
He's copying you.
Yeah, he's trying to cover himself up. He's cracking me up. Stop. You get a cover? Go get a cover. Go get it.
What breed is he?
He's a Pugalier.
I love that face. That face looks like they're like frowning the whole time. Like
He's a Pug and Cavalier mix. So funny. You need the cover? Come here. Watch him. Get the cover. Get the cover too. Go get it. Go get it.
He's like, don't tell me what to do. Hell no.
Come on. You need a cover? Here you go. Here you go to cover. There we go.
I love that face. It's awesome. It's like.
Okay, night. Seriously, silly. Okay. Here, again, trying to get under the cover. You'll get under there. See.
Hey guys, I got a question.
Silly.
For content providers, when you make queries,
Mm-hmm.
At the end, why do you have to call cursor.set notification URI?
Okay, I don't remember that. Content providers were a few weeks ago.
That's a notification URI. Because I think you want to get the cursor to get updated. No, if you want if the data set changed, Something like that.
I don't know.
Here's the thing I don't understand. When you look at the architecture, the new architecture, it doesn't even mention content providers as it relates to your own unique, your own database, right? So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
just have a different approach now.
Yeah, but you would use it. I did see someone. You would still use it if you want to expose your database, but
So
to other apps, right?
where, yeah, if you would, yeah. But in this example, they were using it as an internal
Right. Yeah.
content provider only.
Which is totally not necessary. And like I know on Slack they're asking one of the mentors like why they do it that way, right?
Mhm.
And basically he said, it's just to teach you something that you'll need to know either way, because if you ever want to expose the data, you'd have to do it that way. So might as well just learn that they're not going to we're not going to go have an exercise actually exposing data. So basically this is how we'll teach it to you, but it's really not necessary in your own app. In your own data, it's not necessary at all.
Right.
Yeah. It didn't make sense to me because it kind of was presented in such a way that you wouldn't use like bind the database to the they're binding the database to the UI, which is not something we would do, or to an adapter, which is not something you would do. You would connect the database to the view model and then connect the view model to.
Right now, yeah.
I just wish they'd have taught that.
Yeah. But that's a lot of stuff in the course. It's just like it's very much not deprecated is the wrong word, but it's just like somewhat irrelevant now.
Antiquated, yeah.
Yeah, antiquated. Very good. Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'm still struggling with the question, so you get this nano degree and then what do you do with it, right? Like what could I actually do with it besides saying that I got it?
Not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, my plans is just to have another skill. I collect skills. And especially if I'm doing UI design and I could offer somebody, hey, I could also, I've done Android apps. If I designed a few, I could build a few also.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have an idea that you want to actually do, you could actually do it. That's why I originally learned website design, because I had an idea for a website and like, how am I going to do it? So I told myself how to actually build it. Mind you, the website never got built, but you got the skill.
That was my whole reasoning for wanting to do Android, is because I have an app that I want to build.
Right.
I'm going to build it someday. I have two apps one that I want to build, one that I have to build. So I am part of this group, this club, this fiber club. And once a year we hold an event for this staff day. And so we've been doing this event very manual, extremely manual, like taking cash manual, the entry fee or whatever, taking it in cash, the raffle tickets in cash, trying to actually having those little strips of tickets for raffle tickets. And it becomes, we had like maybe 100 people. A little over 100, 125 people last year. And it was overwhelming at the registration desk, And so we're looking for a way to minimize a lot of the, chaos at the registration desk. And we are thinking that, a lot of people who come to this event are the same people that come year after year after year. And we could offer, a early bird discount for registering early, and that will keep them, that will make sure that they don't spend a lot of time at the registration desk. All they have to do is pick up, give us their ID and pick up their registration packet. We can have it all set up for them, the
Right.
name tag, whether or not they had raffle tickets, whether or not they're in, the drawing for the grand prize. We can have that all set up online for those people who know they're coming to Distaff Day, who know they're buying raffle tickets, who know they're gonna, participate in the door prize stuff. We could have, like, even if 20% of those people go online and register, it's 20% less people at the registration desk. So, and the venue we had this year, we didn't realize it, but they had two doors to enter the venue, and people were just sneaking in the back door.
That's not good.
Yeah, it wasn't nice. But my job was to keep track of people coming in and out. So I was like, okay, that person didn't pay, that person doesn't pay. And we're talking like we raised the price from like $3 to $5 entry, right? We're not talking about a ton of money, but the only thing we're trying to do is break even for reserving the venue, so. Anyway, so I'm supposed to build either an iPhone app for that or an Android app, something that we can.
Well, why not just do that on the web? Why would you need an app for that? Why not just make a website for that?
Because we also want to do. Okay, so we can do the online registration. Yes, we can do it in the online registration, but at the registration desk, we also want to make registering there a lot easier as well. Literally, we're like, it's so manual. It is so manual. We're hoping that, we can just set, a couple tablets up and let people register, like self-register, and people just monitor them, than to do what we are doing with cash, with handling cash. Like literally, you'll have
not an app, like not an app for them to download, but an app basically for you to have that they can use.
Yes, it's the registration desk.
Like more of a point of service type of app. I guess that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I get you. Then now I get it. Okay, that makes sense. Right. I mean, that could also be done on a website, but I hear what that would be an app.
Yeah, we wanted to. Yeah, we could do it on a website, but then again, it's the difference between bringing somebody's laptop or somebody's cell phone. But if it was a progressive web app, then I guess it'll work well on cell phone too.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's what we were looking for, and that's next January, which, believe it or not, is around the corner, because we want to start registration in October.
April, May, June, July, August, September. You have 6 months.
That's around the corner.
And the next year is also basically around 2 corners.
Mm-hmm. No, trust me, it'll be October before you know it. I mean, maybe it's me, showing my age, but once you get through the first quarter of the year, it's third quarter before you know it.
The summer goes by very fast. That's what I find. So if you're talking about the summer, well, you're in Florida, right?
Yeah.
You always have summer.
All year is the summer, yeah.
Yeah. Don't make me jealous. I'm about to have a snowstorm. Who the hell needs a snowstorm in March?
Yeah, where in Jersey were you?
I'm by the coast. I'm in the small city, Lakewood. It's by by Jersey Shore, basically. Not on the shore, but 20 minutes away from the shore.
Okay. I was in Franklin Lakes.
Where's that? North, south, east, west? North?
Yeah.
Well, you there for business?
Yeah, we have a big campus there.
Oh, man. What did you say you were? What was the company you told me that you work for?
Express Scripts.
Did they just get sold or something? Did something just happen with them big?
Cigna. Yep.
Cigna, right? Cigna bought them out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I was reading on that online and it hit me. Someone just told me about that.
Yep.
That's cool.
Merged. Well, it's a merger proposal, so it still needs to go through all the regulatory approval.
Right, antitrust and all that stuff.
Yep. But
Are they hiring?
we're still hiring.
Brendon, you want a job?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
sign me up.
Yeah.
What do you say? But you said you have. What do? You do engineering? You're an engineer.
Yeah,
Me?
mechanical.
You don't like that?
I'm a mechanical engineer.
Right? You don't like that? Apparently not. What is mechanical? You doing like bridges? You designing bridges or something?
Like, I make simulations, like
That's cool.
like thermal and fluid simulations for pumps, turbines, and things like that.
For pumps, what like big like water systems and like those type of stuff?
It's like, so we make submersible pumps and motors, and we model like how the fluid moves around the fins of the pump, things like that. So,
Oh wow.
but I like the tech industry. It's more exciting. I like it.
Yeah, no, I was always enamored by the tech industry, even before there was a tech industry. Like, but yeah,
Especially machine learning.
yeah,
That stuff fascinates me, man.
that's cool.
That's so cool.
That's a big, like, machine learning is the buzzword in tech right now.
Yeah.
People are trying to figure out how to do it and how to do it well.
It's gonna get
Everybody wants to get those robots, you know, grounding us up already. They want the Terminator coming already. Except Elon Musk. He just wants to send us all to Mars.
No, he has his autonomous vehicles. Did you see his autonomous semi truck?
No, I didn't, but I did see an autonomous vehicle smash into somebody in where was it? Austin, in Arizona.
Yeah, an Uber. Yeah.
That's an Uber. They're in big trouble now.
right?
What? She
The lady-
died. Yeah, she died. It's going to be a big hit for the whole industry for a while.
Yep. But yeah,
And especially when you have the news. You know what's the news headline? You saw any news headlines about it?
Uber driver. Uber
Killer
self-driving
machine.
car.
Killer
Uber.
machine.
Yeah.
Killer machine. That's what they have.
Seriously?
Yes. Talk about this is what the media is. They're just gonna rabble rouse, and it's gonna become the next biggest thing. Killer machines. The machines are killing us after us, and yeah, it's crazy.
I can't believe somebody had that as the.
That is the headline. I'm not sure if it was Fox or CNN. One of them had that as a headline.
Well, it's a headline that sells, right?
Yeah, that's what it's yellow journalism. That's what we have.
No, it was Fox because I'm looking at CNN's headline and it says Uber pulls self-driving car after first fatal crash of autonomous vehicle.
This was earlier, so it might be earlier. Let me check. Yeah, one of them. Listen, I what I do is I read Fox, I read CNN because then I know the truth is somewhere in between.
Yeah.
They're both the most biased. They are so biased, both of them.
That's true. Okay, so there's bias and there's outright lying, and to me, I Fox outright lies to people. CNN is definitely left leaning though.
Yeah.
Killer machines. I want to see that one.
Killer machine or something. I forgot what it was. Maybe it was on Apple News. Maybe I saw it on Apple News. Then it might have been neither of them.
Oh, you got did I tell you guys I bought an iPad? Yay!
Wait, which one?
The
Pro?
Pro 10 inch.
Yeah, I have it.
Now that I bought it, I'm like, why did I?
Okay, but even this, like, a self-driving car claims its first pedestrian victim. Like, it's just a way to write it is so, like, inflammatory, right? That's the right word. It's just,
that's every headline. That's every headline everywhere.
Because I hate, that's why I don't like reading the news. Just like.
It's clickbait. I mean, every single headline everywhere.
I can't even get to it now. Okay, it was somewhere. I definitely saw that headline somewhere. Killer machine.
It's probably like BuzzFeed or something.
BuzzFeed is just like funny crap from when I was young. That's why I look at BuzzFeed. They have like all these like you have to be 30 or 35 to understand this. And they have some good funny ones. Okay, I'm not finding it. Okay. Whatever. It was there. Somebody had that.
Yeah. It's probably BuzzFeed or that other one. The one that Hulk Hogan shut down. What was it called? Gawker.
Oh, that was
Gawker.
yeah.
Gawker. Didn't they reopen as something as a different name?
I don't know.
Self-driving Uber car kills pedestrian. Well, that is what happened.
No, yeah, but this one was claims first pedestrian victim. Like it's the first one. You know, there's got to be more.
Sounds like there's more to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting on it. Yeah, exactly. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to just. Hey.
Hilarious.
So let me.
That was on CNN. The one that says, what did I say? It said something like Uber car kills pedestrian. Self-driving.
Yeah, okay.
Pedestrian.
That's fine. That's fine. That's just what happened. Vox, the one I said over was claims its first pedestrian victim was from Vox, whatever Vox is. I don't know what Vox is. I just know it's on Apple News.
Oh, Vox. Okay, yeah, that's another one. Yeah, that's another one.
Let me tell you guys my idea.
Their headlines are extremely inflammatory or extremely inflammatory.
Yeah, yeah. They need. I mean, who heard of Vox? So they got to have somebody to look at them. Oh.
This one, Uber and other self-driving car crashes. That's from Fox. So if you go to Vox.
I'm looking at Apple News. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I have to get my iPad or iPod for that.
Yeah. No, Vox is this one. A self-driving car
killed a pedestrian. 16 people are killed by regular cars every day. It's not happening. The cars didn't kill people. The people driving them killed people. Except for the autonomous one. That car did, in fact, kill somebody. There's a difference. It's nuanced, but there's a difference.
I can't find it.
Here, Vox.
You see it?
Driving car claims its first pedestrian victim.
Yeah, okay. That's just like...
It makes you laugh, though, doesn't it?
But they're not trying to be funny. I'm laughing at it. You're laughing at it.
So funny.
So,
it's funny. It's so funny. It's ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous. But okay. Self-driving cars are killing people now.
They're after us. They're taking our jobs first. After they take our jobs, then they'll just take our lives, run away, make it bunker.
Oh, goodness. You should listen to this one TED talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Yeah.
He's like, he's not really worried about the killer robots at this point. He's more worried about people introducing bias in machine learning algorithms.
Yeah.
And he explains how that could happen, and not intentionally, but how that accidentally could happen. That has and it ends up having a profound impact.
What like basically how you teach it, like what data you use to teach it and all that type of stuff.
Yes. So, for example, they showed they were using this image recognition software to try and recognize different breeds of dogs, right? And so they trained it with, you know, all of these pictures of dogs and other animals as well, right?
Of course.
And finally, they showed they were trying to get a result from a picture of a German Shepherd in snow, right? And the algorithm kept telling them that German Shepherd was actually a wolf, right? And the algorithm should be smart enough to tell the difference between a German Shepherd and a wolf, but it kept saying this is a wolf, right? So then they asked they basically designed, you know, methods or other algorithms to try and explain why this algorithm is telling them it's a wolf. And essentially it's because every picture they had of a wolf, it
Was in snow?
No, yep. It was always in snow. And it wasn't that they were seeing a wolf, it was that they were associating an animal that looked like a wolf that was in snow. It was a secondary attribute that triggered it to identify as a wolf. So
Yeah.
the question then became, why was the setting of that animal, why was the setting in which that animal was ever even relevant, right? So, and how come there was never other pictures of wolves that weren't in snow, you know?
Right.
So that was one example they were given. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I want to get through this one YouTube video before I go to sleep. It's a YouTube video. It's this one guy. He's funny to me. He's talking. It's a video on recycler view. But it's more than just that. He actually talks about or he's doing live coding of a recycler view application, but he's incorporating MVVM, right?
What's the guy's name?
Wise ass.
Wise ass. I saw Wise ass. I love the guy's name. It rocks. He's actually very good. I watched him for Dagger. For Retrofit or Dagger, one of them.
Okay.
So no, he's good. He's good. He's funny.
Yeah. So it incorporates it's structuring the application as he's doing MVC right now, but the next one will be MVVM. But this one, I could have just taken the code from this repository and started the next video, but I wanted to start at this video because he also starts the Java code with writing the test first, right? And that's kind of my thing with TDD. So
test-driven development.
Yeah. So that's where we are now in the video, where he's gonna write the controller as using rules, basically write the test for the controller and then implement the class. So I think the next few videos he might even go into espresso testing. So it's only 2 hours long.
And you watch it at one time or two times?
This one I'm watching this only once.
The speed.
Oh, regular time. I don't know, because regular time, because I know I can skip ahead into certain things, because he'll tell you, he goes off on tangents and goes down rabbit holes, and I can definitely appreciate that because I do the same thing, but I also know when it's time to move forward.
Right.
So,
I can't, I don't listen to anything at one time anymore.
Yeah.
I need their voices to go fast. I need somebody to be talking like this, or I can't understand what they're saying. It's like, thank God they just put in the Audacity's app that it can do a 1.5. Like, online, I could always get it to do more, but in the app, they never had it, and I drove me crazy. Especially, they talk very slow.
They do talk.
They talk very, very, very slow, and I just 1.5 it.
I can have several dreams in between their concepts.
Yeah.
That was another thing. Like when I got to the later lessons in the course, I really struggled, especially lesson 10. I struggled because I kept falling asleep during the lecture. I'm like, oh, this is only a 2-minute video. How am I falling asleep on this 2-minute video? Because it was so boring. It drug on and on and on.
That's why you do 2 times speed.
Yeah.
No, I also I don't like. It's a bone to pick a little with them, you know. Like they sort of baby it up a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just not for that. Just tell me what I got to know. I don't need the jokes and the not even half of them are not even funny jokes, you know.
Get to the point.
Yeah.
You get to the point. It's like written a little bit for like teenagers, like from last generation, you know.
Mhm.
Not even this generation's teenagers. Like I don't know, but overall it's good. It gets information out. So
Yeah. So yeah, I'm on the first this review thingy thing. But unit test is what I'm looking at.
all right, enjoy yourself.
Move on. All right,
We'll
guys.
see you all again.
Wednesday.
All righty. Everybody, good luck, Brendon, finishing.
Thank you.
Did you put yourself in for the tickets?
Yeah, I gotta finish this first. I'm only on 78%.
Oh, so no, another few lessons. You went up to 80. Another few.
They're gonna select 4 people,
2 out
right?
of all.
it?
No, but 1 from each course. Meaning, from our course, there's only gonna be one selected.
Oh shit!
They're
That's
choosing
fun.
from all 4 each like
So,
scholarship.
The intermediate, the front, the web, and the what else?
Full stack and the front end, I think. I'm not sure. I
Oh,
think it's full. I mean, each one we got now. Why full stack or front end is going to Google I/O? I'm not sure, but okay, whatever.
why only 4? That's kind of like cheap.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they select 4 from each course at least, or
I thought it's 4 from each channel on Slack. You know,
No.
that would be like, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I don't think they're doing that.
All right. Well,
All right, cool guys.
All right, we'll see y'all.
I'll
I
see
never
you
win
Wednesday.
anything,
Wednesday,
so.
there's another meeting on Wednesday, right? Wednesday.
What about?
We're gonna have another stand-up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I hope to make it. We'll see. I'm
All right,
picking up my
cool.
wife from the airport then, so we'll see.
All right.
All right.
Well, if you want to, we can push it till Thursday. If you
Them.
you
What?
can't do Thursday.
No.
Then do Wednesday. Do Wednesday. Take a video, record it, Brendon, and I'll like today. When did I jump in? Like 8:45, 9 o'clock. If it's still going on, when I get home, I'll jump in. Whatever, we'll see.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Have a
Cool.
good one.
Bye.
Bye.